The concept for EPARTRADE is basically, in my opinion, there's a big hole in the internet. So the internet started many years ago, but there's never been an online business community for racers on the World Wide Web. The need for EPARTRADE is actually quite obvious. Basically, people in the business of auto racing need a place online to hang out and get their problems solved.
It's extremely simple for a buyer or for a supplier to interact on the platform. The first thing you need to do is sign in, which is free. And the second thing is, when you see a product that you're interested in, all you need to do is click on request more information. If it's a company, you click on request more information, and then from there, it is forwarded directly to the buyer or to the supplier.
You can go to epartrade.com, you become part of a community of businesses in racing, and it makes sourcing products much easier than just on the internet or using Google.
At EPARTRADE, there is no e-commerce. It's literally a connection just like at a trade show. So now, any time of the year, a buyer could reach out to a supplier through an email.
More than that, it's a place to go just to keep current every day. So it's a good place to start your workday in your racing business or in your offices of your professional race team. And you know you're current when it comes to new technology, industry news, technical papers, technical videos, all of that and more. We're not looking for a million hits per day. All we want is people who are really the volume buyers of racing products in the racing industry to be part of the little world of EPARTRADE. We have racing businesses participating from around the world. So you get suppliers from around the world, you get buyers from around the world.
EPARTRADE really eliminates having to travel, closing down your shop. Now you have a place to showcase globally your racing product and technology.
Good morning from California and welcome to Race Industry Now, the technical and business webinar series from EPARTRADE, presented to you by ARP and Performance Plus Global Logistics. I am Francisco Savignan, the founder and CEO of EPARTRADE, the global platform for the performance and racing industry. This is episode 219. We're going to be talking software for shops and racing businesses with Shopmonkey. This morning with me are Judy Kim, the co-founder of EPARTRADE, and our wonderful host, Mr. Jeff Hammond. Judy?
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And I've known Brett for over 20 years. We both started about 20 years ago when I was at PRI. He is so well respected. He is so connected. And for him to bring Shopmonkey to our industry is a statement. This has to be a great business software. So I'm excited to see what he has going on today. So on to you, Jeff.
Well, thank you both. Good morning, Francis and Judy. And yeah, I'm excited about this. I did a little bit of looking around on the internet to try to get a feel for what exactly Shopmonkey brings to the table. And, you know, even for myself, I wish I'd known something like this existed for some of my duties as a crew chief back in the day. I probably could have had a better, more organized shop, especially late in my career when everybody was, you know, getting cell phones and things. So, you know, sending messages internally without having to run through the shop trying to find everybody would have really been a big plus. So I could see a lot of benefits, even for a small company, but also for the larger company. So yeah, I'm really excited to hear what these gentlemen have to share. And again, where all this thought process comes from that works, it seems like it makes things work so smoothly.
Good. So on to you guys.
All right, perfect.
Good morning. Hi, Brett.
Hey, Jeff, how are you? It's great to be here today.
Hey, it's great to be here. Great to finally get a chance to see you and speak with you. Like I say, I'm really excited about what you got to share with us today, and the fact that, you know, you're bringing a friend along with you. I got maybe a couple of friends. I don't know how many people you got with you today.
We just have one gentleman with us here today from Triple S Motorsports up in Canada. But when Judy presented me with the opportunity, there were a couple of people that came to mind. There was a short list of people I went, gosh, you know, I've gotten to work with these guys hand in hand a little bit and learn their story. And Marco's story rose right to the top. So I wanted to reach out to him and let him talk a little bit about the success that they've not only found, working with Shopmonkey, but most importantly, what they found as a shop as a whole, as he's been involved in their business.
Well, like I said, I'm really looking forward to hearing his experience, with your programs. But to begin with, what made you develop this program, and what was in your business at the time that led you to develop this program?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Jeff. We have one of those true founder stories behind Shopmonkey. So our founder, who his name is Ashot Iskandarian, no relation to Ed, but nevertheless, he was, a car guy all his life, working on, classic American muscle cars, then developed a love for BMWs and the performance side of things. But he was a product guy in Silicon Valley. He's from the San Jose area and was working in product. And basically what happened as he grew in his career and he grew in his personal life, he started having a couple kids, and that ability to work on his own cars on a consistent basis became a little bit more restricted due to time, as I think anybody with children can attest to.
Yeah.
And so he started taking his cars to a couple different shops, sometimes for basic things, sometimes for maybe a little bit more in-depth work. And just, the natural curiosity of Ashot kind of wanted to see what was going on from a business perspective, because that's what he was trained in and that's what his career revolved around. Mm-hmm. And being able to look behind the counter a little bit and seeing multiple systems being used and stuff like that, well, it's the thought occurred, hey, there's got to be a better way for this. And so basically over time, after an incubation period of, at least 10 months, almost a year of trying to figure out, okay, what do we do here? Is this the right thing to do? And how do I build this out? He made a commitment and went after it. And that was back in 2016 when the ideation process started. And so getting able to roll out in the 2017s and get things moving, today we're over 200 people and working with quite a few shops around the country.
Well, I know, like I said, when I was doing some research and everything, that I understand why a lot of these shops would be jumping at this, because I see it definitely eliminates, if you have a little bit of talent, it helps to limit some of the I guess you would say office personnel that is required to keep up with some of the bookwork and what's going on, where you put it on a iPad or have one person, just one delegated person. You could really be efficient, but not have to be overstaffed to be efficient.
Yeah, I think you're using a couple of really particularly important words there. The primary one is being efficient. And so, the technology today, and I'm sure Marco can attest this, technology today is not the same as it was just 5 years ago or 15 years ago. And so the concept of shop management software has lived in the general auto repair world for a very long time. But the technology that really started that has, I might refer to that as a legacy system, and it never really transferred on over very well into performance shops or race shops and things like that, because it was really built for that vertical in mind. And because it was done so using a little bit older technology, it's hard to make those changes. It's a little bit more challenging to evolve. Bring that up to today, and now we're able to use a cloud structure and continuously evolve the product, as well as make it very robust to where we can service the general auto repair, which is great, and that's a wonderful space to be in. But combine that with customization that shops can take upon their own in a very easy way, and combine that with basically the love and enthusiasm that Ashot had for the performance market. And now all of a sudden you have what I might call right-sized technology for performance and aftermarket shops and even race shops where it's not a big upfront cost. It's not a major investment. It's something that anybody can basically add to their suite of business tools and find those efficiencies. That maybe that's reducing headcount. Maybe that's getting a few hours back every day or every week in order to apply that elsewhere. And that's where we get to see a lot of efficiencies. And that's where a lot of our pride comes from, is when we get to hear customer stories say, hey, I was able, I'm not working nights, I'm not working weekends in the same way that I was before, or I'm actually tracking things in a proper way and everybody's being held accountable for the work they're doing. And oh, by the way, I'm able to hold my customers accountable now because I'm able to track our conversations, get those signatures digitally, get that payment digitally, and we can communicate that way as well. So sorry, I diverted a little bit, but there's so much to talk about, but I'll take a step back and let you go.
No, I'm glad you're doing this, because again, it gives me a couple more ideas that just come to mind. And one thing I'd like to do, if it's time, I'd like to bring Marco in, because you mentioned the high performance stuff here. I'd like to do some crossover between what I'm familiar with and what he's doing, plus what hopefully some of our other participants that are on the network today, as far as a day-to-day job and shop management and stuff. But at the same time, I love what people can do when it helps people in racing. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about because when I was looking at your calendar, for example, I made me come back and think about when I was at Darrell Waltrip's shop, and we had we had Western Auto, and we had built a huge, really one of the largest doggone dry race boards I've ever seen. We were able to find in a warehouse, and we made it to where, we put everything up on that dry race board, and it was just a gigantic calendar, month by month. And sometimes it was months at a time, depending on how we felt like we needed to do it. And that's how we kept everybody up in the shop. Was just, if you're curious about what was kind of like next in line, everything was important. You had red lines under. This is number one priority. And if you get to the color code here, it was always a way, but you still had to do it. But with your program, I can see where all of a sudden, if you put everybody on the system, then you could make an update calendars as they go along, and people could be notified that, hey, this is changed, or this is coming, or whatever. I could just see some, like I was explaining to Francis and Judy, you don't have to holler through the shop. You don't have to go run somebody down. You could send them a text message if they're working for you, and, keep right on, keep business flowing.
That's exactly right. And just one thing I want to point out is that I'm a big fan of the whiteboards. I've got one myself. I'm nerdy like that, but I got to say, I've also visited some shops where they just have a large monitor in the shop, and it has the calendar, it has the workflow. Everyone can see what they're doing. Additionally, we do have an app component to where anyone can have on their cell phone, basically, what are my next tasks up in my schedule for the day. So it's not a question of, okay, I've completed something, now I got to figure out what I have to do next. I know exactly what I have to do next. So anyways, that being said, I don't want to step on anything that Marco might have to say.
Marco, are you out there, sir?
Yes, for sure. Thank you guys for having me. First and foremost, this is a wonderful opportunity. Excited to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. And again, reading your background and you get an idea of what you have accomplished and what you're currently doing. That's the reason why I really feel like, you walk the line of the consummate competitor and racer. And yet at the same time, you're a businessman who's running a shop for all those folks who have your great product and needs to be serviced or maintained, or, whatever. You walk right in the middle of two really important worlds, the way I look at it, especially with this product that Shopmonkey has got. So how about sharing your story with us about how it's benefited you and both the worlds?
Yeah, for sure. I got involved with Triple S quite a few years ago, just through the drifting scene. That was kind of my entry into the automotive scene, was through competing in the Spec D professional drifting series here in Canada. First off, the shop had actually sponsored me as a driver, and then immediately offered me a job. And, you know, we've kind of gotten to where we are today now, 4 or 5 years later. Yeah, this shop's been around since 1983. We started working on Datsuns back in the 80s. Your typical road cars. The owner at the time also liked building Datsun race cars. And that's kind of where things really kicked off for us in the 80s there. You know, fast forward, now we're here in 2022. We've transformed into a much larger operation. You know, doing everything from engine building, custom wiring, fabrication, dyno tuning, paint, bodywork, rust repair, restoration, you know, everything from A to Z in terms of building a car from start to finish. And, you know, with regards to racing, obviously, like I mentioned, we love drifting. We compete in the local Spec D Professional Drift Series, but we do have aspirations to one day make it out to Formula Drift in the United States, which would obviously be, tremendous for us. But yeah, like with regards to Shopmonkey and you know, technology in the workplace in general, obviously one of the biggest challenges that we have working on Japanese cars, working on performance cars, working on custom applications like this, you know, not a lot of the work we do is repeatable. It's not like a dealership where, you know, you have a Toyota RAV4 that you need a tie rod for and you just click and drag or add to cart. Every single job, every single part, every single thing that we do requires a certain element of research and time to get things done the correct way. So not having anything repeatable for us, technology is huge for us in allowing us to be efficient and organized and to bring some sort of element of repeatability into our workplace so that we can be as efficient as possible. And I think that's where Shopmonkey has come in huge for us. And you know, as Brett mentioned earlier, the constant innovation that they bring is also something that we love. They're always kind of taking opinions from their customers in terms of things that they want upgraded on the software, you know, ideas of things that they want changed. It's always constantly evolving and adapting to bring new features or to even make adjustments to the features that are already there.
Brett, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think, well, actually, yeah. A couple of things. Marco talked about, you know, being able to bring in repeatability. And, you know, my background is in both manufacturing and distribution on the aftermarket side of things. And so when I came into the tech world and I got to see what was going on, there were a couple of things that stood out to me where I had these just immediate moments of pride, knowing that I was with Shopmonkey. And that was when I saw something as basic as canned services. I immediately started thinking about all the different shops that have packages that they put together, and they might want to customize them a little bit, or they might want to edit them a little bit, but the canned services feature allows them to basically have those loaded in their database, and literally within 1 to 2 clicks it's applied. And if they need to edit it, they can easily do so on the fly, but it's repeatable. And what it does is it can, in a grand scheme of things, and thinking about my background, I was looking at it going, what a great way to deliver consistent brands, consistent packages, consistent processes, and packages to the consumer that might have seen a package somewhere that shop did and said, that's what I want. And then they can go ahead and have that done over and over again, and the organization that brings to the shop. So that was something that you mentioned that I thought was great. And yeah, it really is all about those efficiencies where you do that once, you build that process once, and it lives in the system. So it can be applied again, and it doesn't have to be built over and over again. You know, I mean, in racing, it's all about finding seconds here and stuff like that, even fractions of a second here and there. No different than in a shop environment. You know, you want to find ways to save time while making sure you are delivering that, you know, very high-end customer experience to bring customers back and build that word of mouth growth for you.
Yeah, well said. I'd have to say the canned services would be one of my favorite features as well. Having that repeatability is huge for us. Obviously, finding any sort of efficiency that we can in the workplace is big. And yeah, like the idea that the service is canned in a way that you can click and drag it into the work order, but also you can make adjustments if need be. Like not every car is the same, so some customers want, you know, a different style of intake or a different turbo, and we can easily remove that one and put the other one in, you know, with the click of a button, rather than having to completely do an entirely new quote. So that for me is a big time saver. Absolutely.
Okay, with that being said, I mean, you answer a question, but you also make me have this question for you. What are the types of hurdles that you have had to overcome with this process? I mean, what things that have you run into? And for me and computers, no, we don't jive. Okay, I mean, I struggle. Is it a system where it you know, somebody who has, you know, a fear of computers and have us sit down and do something like that? Is it a pretty simple system to adapt to? And is it a simple system where you can, you know, you can add to and update and everything like that as far as the technology as it comes down the pike, or as you run through your daily operation, you know, you wind up calling up Brett and say, Brett, I was thinking about this. Can we do this? I mean, is that how the program works?
Yeah, for sure. Speaking from experience, I think it's a very intuitive software. You don't need a lot of technological experience to really understand it. It's very straightforward. One example that I can give, our owner, Corey, not much of a technology guy. He's an old school sticks and stones type. But you know, he wants to have visibility.
I love Corey.
He wants to have visibility over everything. He wants to see the technician efficiency. He wants to have a finger on the pulse, so to say. You know, that was kind of one of the things. He's like, you know, I don't really want to deal with the technology, but I want to be able to have that information at the click of a button. And you know, I was able to just kind of quickly run him through the software, and now he's got that accessibility, no problem. So a guy that is not a fan of technology has no problems navigating the software. So
Yeah,
So Brett,
I think that's
how do you sell? How do you sell? No, I was going to say, how do you go and do you make a cold call? I mean, how do people find Shopmonkey and understand that, you know, you're their friend, not their enemy? I'm not here to make, you know, you have sleepless nights because of this. I mean, how simplistic can it be as far as setting up a program?
Yeah. So what I would say is, you know, when it comes to the aftermarket industry and the race industry, my experience has been it's a very small, big industry, and that your reputation is really everything. And that's so important. So we always want to make sure that the product, as well as the culture and the people structure around what we're delivering, is set up right, and we're always making the adjustments that are necessary. So that being said, you know, one of the things that you had asked about, like, how easy is it? So you know, that being said, what I would say is this: on average, we have about 10% of our customers who actually go ahead and onboard themselves, just as a testament to the ease and intuitiveness. Now, the system, though, as you dig into it and as you make use of more features, can become more complicated, just like anything. And so the customer journey is very straightforward, very classical, in that if you want to try it out, you can try it out. If you want to talk to support ahead of time, that's no problem. What we like to do, though, is get a demo going. In the world of Zoom shared screens, we can easily do that these days. Do a walkthrough, let you try it out, let you try and break it, really, and make sure it works for you. Because ultimately what we want to do is give shops all the all the information they need to make a good business decision. Because at the end of the day, that's really what we're going after. But then as a customer comes on, or as a prospect becomes a customer, they work with a dedicated person to help them with implementation. And then they move in that customer journey into long-term partners in success. And then they're constantly surrounded by our general customer support. And that's chat. It's also over the phone. We have a very robust group of people who are quite frankly, significantly smarter than me and are able to really help customers out very quickly. And the other thing too that I think is really cool is that, or that's worth mentioning, is we have this wonderful Shopmonkey Academy that we recently rolled out. And what it is, you know, internally, we have a couple of very talented educators. And basically they put together a full curriculum where if you are new to Shopmonkey, it literally takes you step by step through all the main things you're going to need to learn in order to be successful in using the product. Because you know, the other thing that I'm actually very critical of and was looking for when I joined Shopmonkey was how they actually handled that. Because in my experience of distribution and manufacturing, I've spent a lot of time at shops, and what I would see more often than not is one, maybe two people who knew how to do all the office work and connect the front office to the shop. And that business, in a way, was hostage to that person, and that person was hostage to that business. And, you know, if they needed to leave for an emergency or a vacation, you know, there was a whole lot of anxiety for that person when they were coming back. And there was a whole lot of anxiety for the shop going, what are we going to do? Who's going to cover all this? Really, we want to make sure that everybody within the business, within the shop, within the front office can use the product, is not afraid of it, and can make use of it quickly and easily.
Okay. Marco, down this same thought process, how has this technology that's out there today, has it helped you as far as hiring and retaining some of the people that's in your business right now? I mean, you know, are they excited once they see that you have this type of technology available to kind of back them up and make their job, you know, easier? And, you know, has it been a plus in that regard?
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, every technician or new person that we've had come on board that we've shown the software to and kind of given them the orientation on it has felt very positively towards it. And I think they're, you know, typically pretty excited to use something like that for their day-to-day jobs. You know, having the ability to be organized, especially in a shop like this. I mean, you know, at the end of the day here, when we've got the doors closed, we've got about 30 some cars packed inside overnight. So there's a lot of cars on each technician's mind, and quite a few things for them to be thinking about at once in terms of the jobs that they have on the go. So having that system for them to stay organized really allows them to feel like they can be efficient in their job, especially when some of our technicians are paid in a way that's incentivized, not necessarily flat rate, but, you know, they're paid in a way that the more they can accomplish, the better they're going to do in terms of the earnings that they can receive.
And again, that's the kind of stuff I'm glad to hear about, because here again, if you give people, I mean, we all know about when you go to a lot of service shops, they've got X amount of hours on a book that says you get this done. Some people want to take it to the limit of the book or exceed it, and other people work very diligently to get it done quicker so they can move on to the next project. So to me as an owner, if I've got a group of people and I'm trying to incentivize, then you have an opportunity to almost like have a time card of how they were managing their time because of the number of jobs they're able to complete and so forth and so forth. So Shopmonkey allows you to do that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And exactly that. There's a whole time clock system for each individual technician. Their time gets applied on each individual job that we can see in the back end. We can track the efficiency of it. We can even have those conversations with the customer if they have any questions regarding the hours that were spent. And that's another thing too for us that we really like about the software is our customers seem to be very satisfied by it. You know, they don't obviously use it a lot because it's our back end, but there's quite a bit of customer communication that goes on through the software. So when we book an appointment, the system will automatically send them an appointment confirmation. It'll prompt them for their VIN number and any information that they can give prior to the appointment. They can text message us to cancel the appointment. They can send us photos. We can send them photos of their car. We can send them an inspection of their car. There is a intuitive payment system that allows us to collect payment before the customer even picks up their car. I can remember many occasions where I've had customers come into the shop for their first appointment, and the first thing they said to us was how impressed they were with the system that, that basically reminded them of their appointment.
So Brett, when you're dealing with the number of shops that you have, and again, I'm not trying to put a number, but I'm gonna put a number out there based off what I read on the internet. You got over 3,000 shops or people using your program, hopefully more than that time we get done here today. But at the same time, what do you, as far as the expectations of new versions or upgrades on the technology, and where do you see the future of that technology going? I mean, I think you pretty much have proven that you can take this platform and make it flexible to whatever business is asking for your help, correct?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, our mission is to help every shop thrive. And if you think about it that way, there's a lot of shops in North America alone, all doing very different work. So, from a long-term vision standpoint, that's where we live. But in order to march towards that goal, a couple things that are just always that are fundamental to how we approach the product, the technology, and the market. And that is ever evolving the product. So if we release a new feature that might be 5 clicks, we're always asking in the background, how do we turn that into 3 clicks or 2 clicks? So how can that how can the product evolve in the right way? Making things very easy to use and intuitive and delightful in a way, because the easier it is to gain buy-in from your employees, hey, that's a great thing, and that helps everybody work from the same page. The other thing too is being able to bring shops and the customers closer together in a lot of different ways, all in one space. Okay, and what I mean by that, so for example, we're getting ready to roll out a brand new offering called Autopilot, and what that's going to do is think about taking a lot of the things that you might use an email service provider for, like a MailChimp or whoever else it might be, and having that live within Shopmonkey and being able to send those messages, schedule those things around a build. If your build is done in 4 stages, well, great. You're going to want to maintain that communication. Being able to ask about referrals, or being able to let them know about, maybe you're going to host a Cars and Coffee. Cool. We want to send a marketing message out to these customers that have had a wonderful experience and maintain that close connection. So those are things that, that's a generalized approach. And, quite frankly, at the end of the day, it is all about making sure that the product is usable and relevant to the needs of the customers and the ever-changing market.
So Marco, with your relationship with Datsun and the folks over in Japan and everything on a daily basis, do they utilize this program over there with any of the companies that you're working with right now? And do they have interaction with this? Is that possible?
You're talking about in Japan, sorry?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. At the moment, not that I know of. Like, I know we'd be one of the main Canadian customers here. I know there's a lot of customers over in the North American region. Brett, I'm not sure. Do you have any customers in Japan at the moment?
No, right now we have a few customers kind of around the world, but our primary focus and support lies within North America. And it really is all about, building it for this space, and then we can evolve globally. But this is where we're currently living.
When you talk about where you're currently living, Brett, what besides the automotive industry, customer related as well as racing, have you looked at any other businesses that this right here would possibly help? Because I mean, I can see there's potential for about any type of company out there that wants to build something, especially if you've got any size to it. It seems to me like that would be a very beneficial way to go about, because I think we all agree the thing that Shopmonkey brings to the table is that efficiency, the fact of eliminating steps and managing time without having to have somebody standing over your
Right.
shoulder. I mean, it's kind of like it's self-done, but the system itself requires that. I mean, it's just it can help you keep up with what you can't do maybe visually.
Absolutely. So the way I would answer that question is, first and foremost, we really are focused on the automotive space. That being said, and to your point, we have many customers who fall into these areas of expertise or different fields: marinas, marine repair, bicycle repair, power sports, engine builders. We've done a good amount of work with them as well. RV and RV repair and maintenance and stuff like that. So there is definitely a trend about anything with a motor and wheels, or at least a motor, if we're talking about boats as well. But to your point, that's just a variety of ways that the software is fundamentally applicable to all those other verticals.
I got one I'm gonna give to you to put on your list.
Do it.
And I'm speaking to this from experience. I have a son and a son-in-law that works for the local John Deere dealership, and I do a lot of business with John Deere. And so when you go in there, you're doing the same thing. They're constantly, not only do they have a shop, but they've also got the guys that work on the road that are connected back, with their computers and stuff like that. So a program like this would be almost unbelievable for them, because one of the things that they get frustrated about is filling out work orders, keeping up with their calendar, and having to try to get caught up with the shop manager. And you know what I'm saying? I could just, all of a sudden the light started going on in my head, thinking this would be ideal for these boys, because that way they could stay on the road, put their parts orders in where they need to. I mean, this kind of program could really work within a tractor dealership just as well as it does a car dealership.
Well, I believe you're quite right there, and I think that you're spot on with that being a wonderful opportunity. I would simply add that one of the fastest growing segments that we're seeing is those mobile shops. So those guys who have a van, have a truck, and they might have a home base, or they might be completely mobile and are going out on the road. They're definitely making use of that technology. But I love what you're saying too about the agricultural market.
Well, I just know it's a growing business.
Yes, absolutely.
Literally.
It's been around for a long time, and I think it's going to be around for a lot longer too.
So Marco, when you look and you interact with Brett, do you ever find yourself going in with a special request? Have you had anything that the system maybe needed some tweaking on, and that you guys worked on recently?
Yeah, absolutely. We got involved with Shopmonkey, I want to say in the infancy phase, because I do remember, as Brett mentioned earlier, Ashot, the founder of the company at that time, was dealing with all the customer service. I remember when we first got involved with Shopmonkey, they had, they would give you a demo of the software. And I remember that Asha was the guy that did that demo. And, as we got into the software and began using it, there were a number of requests that we made in terms of adjustments, or little ideas that we had and things that could kind of help us a little bit. And those things were put through real fast. Within a week, I remember quite a few changes being made. I even remember, I'm not sure, Brett, if this is something that's still going on, but I remember for quite a few years there, Shopmonkey had a request system for ideas for the software, and then they would send out an email to all of their customers that would allow them to basically vote on these requests on what they would also like to see happen with the software. So they really kind of just put it in the hands of their customers and what you would want to see adapted. One of the most recent examples I can think of, here in Canada, we obviously use kilometers, we don't use miles. So we just kind of quickly reached out to the engineers and mentioned that, and right away that was updated in the software.
Yeah, as perfect as we wish we could be, we certainly are not. But we rely on just the knowledge of our customer base and the expertise that they have from guys like Marco to help point us in a corrected direction or help us along the way. And it's been nothing but great being able to work with guys like Marco and shops like Triple S, as well as everybody else too, because I keep an eye on a lot of that stuff that comes in. And it's wonderful to see. I mean, the intelligence that is out there and the great ideas of saying, hey, what about this? Or we recommend this. We also have an in-house UX designer, and she reaches out and spends a lot of time on Zoom calls, kind of walking through either products we have in beta or even in the early stages of determining, hey, okay, we've gotten requests for this. Are we understanding this correctly? How would it fit in? How would it actually be used? And being able to work with customers to really fine tune that, I think it's been a wonderful experience. And again, at the end of the day, everybody just wins from that.
Well, it sounds like to me, in the business that I've been in my entire life, it's always a work in progress.
Yeah.
And the work never stops, because every time that we get progressive, we go down a different avenue or we create a different problem. And it entails, adjusting. And all of a sudden you got new technology, and it causes, you to have to become comfortable with it. You've got to sooner or later, it's that adjustment period. And you always are looking, we talk about the learning process. What I know on the mechanical side, and I need help from somebody more with technology on the other side, that's where that collaboration, it grows infinitely every day, no matter what industry we're in, but especially in the automotive industry. I mean, I think Marco will probably tell us right quick that especially in the auto paint, part of his business, technology every day is changing, with the different people you work with, because they're developing new paint and they're developing new products, for whether it be fiberglass or whether it's, Bondo. They're constantly refining and making it better. And when that happens, it creates that domino effect, where you've either got to understand what's different about it, what the benefits of it is. So I think any technology that's involved in a business has got to have the ability to grow and expand and adapt, just a lot like the people that are running.
Yeah, I think that's very well said. And the one thing I would add to that is technology doesn't have to be scary. I am not, I am not the biggest tech person. I wish it came a little bit more naturally to me, but I went through high school without an email address or anything like that. So I was a little bit later to the game. And, but when you see where things are going and what is now available, as opposed to what was available just a few years ago, it's all the more reason to at least explore, at least look into something, at least gather that information. So once again, at the end of the day, you can make a good business decision, say, can this help my shop? At least do that regardless of what tech you're looking at. It's really important to take those first steps and don't be intimidated by it.
Yeah, I would almost like to ask the question. And how old were you, and what year was that when you got your email when you were in high school? Because I think you'd be really blown away if I told you when I first got my first email address and everything like that. And it was, yeah, yeah. I've kind of waited till about the 21st century before I ever did that. Okay.
I hear you. I hear you. I was just after the AOL.com cutoff. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Yeah. And Marco, go ahead and laugh. It's okay. You can laugh at me about that. Because again, I told you right in the very beginning, computers, they scare the heck out of me because I know they're smarter than I am. And when I turn them on, I feel like I'm almost like in this trance of trying to figure out, okay, which one of these icons does what? And, how do I get here? To sit there and watch people who know how to utilize one of these machines, to me, is fascinating.
Yeah.
And when they talk about computer programmers, no, I think it's wonderful because technology has brought, the automotive industry so far. Racing has become so far, especially this year with NASCAR, what we're working with today. Again, it tells you why a company like Shopmonkey is so needed, because of all the technology that's out there and can make things so much better. I mean, once you get command of it, it becomes, as you said it earlier, and I think Marco is reinforcing that, it's got your back. If you just let it work with you, it will help you, get you down the road at a faster pace. And we are all looking to save steps, increase our profit and our efficiency, and more importantly, make our customers satisfied.
Well said.
Perfectly said.
Well, Francis, what do you think?
Well, I think it's great. I've been watching this company since day one, and I was telling Brett, I mean, they are bringing new technology into the market a little bit like we are, and so it's the world is changing, and the digital world offer new opportunities, new tools, new avenues, and taking advantage of it is really helping us. And it's not there to replace our old way we used to communicate, but it's really fascinating how much we can take from it. And so I congratulate the growth they have been going through. Shopmonkey is unbelievable. I mean, Marco said it. I mean, the founder used to do the demos years ago, and now they have over 200 people and 3,000 shops, and it's only the beginning because it's a tool that's helping shops, and more people are going to use it. So congratulations on everything you're doing. Keep pushing, and I think it's about educating too. And so that's helping people understand what the tool can do, and so congratulations.
No, thank you. I think Jeff asked some wonderful questions. I genuinely hope this was more educational than anything else, where if people watching are curious, they can we've at least checked a few boxes about the things that they might be curious about.
I hope so, because again, I see the benefit, and I believe that there's a lot of companies out there that are probably, unlike James River John Deere Tractor Company, that could use something like this, and all of a sudden we'll be able to, smooth out a lot of stuff they got going on. So, right. I mean, take a chance and think about, what you're saying here, because I truly believe, and I think Marco has done a really, really good job of allowing people to understand where their company has gained growth and I think efficiency because of it. And if anytime you can walk in, if you want to get my attention when I was a crew chief, tell me how I can become more efficient, how I can all of a sudden get faster, how can I get, eliminate mistakes. And I'm going to sit down and talk to you, and I'm going to listen, because if you can do those things, you're going to make me a better organization.
Nice.
Well, thank you very much, guys. Great to have you on. So the webinar has been recorded. It will be later on the EPARTRADE platform, as well as on our YouTube channel and different channel. We push it through our newsletter as well. We will be back next week. Next week, we're going to be talking EFI with Ben Strader from EFI University about tuning modern engine. So please join us again. In the meantime, have a great week, and let's go racing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having us.
Registering on EPARTRADE is easy. Fill out your name, email, phone number, and create a secure password. Next, select your business type. Choose supplier if you're looking to display products or services and connect with buyers. Choose racing business if you're looking to find new parts and connect with suppliers. Choose race team if you own or are a member of a professional racing team. Begin typing your company name. We most likely already have your company in our database, which you can select from the drop-down. Then, enter your job title. Choose Claim Company if you'll be editing your company profile. Other members of your company can choose Join Company if they'd like to use EPARTRADE as well. You can view and agree to our terms of use here. If you'd like to receive our weekly newsletter, choose Accept. Click Register Now, and your registration will be submitted for approval. You'll need to confirm your email once it goes through. To keep our platform industry only, you'll be approved shortly after. If we require additional proof of business, we'll reach out. Welcome to EPARTRADE.